All right, congratulations. You've got your university diplomas in hand and you're ready to take on the world. But before you step into the professional arena, consider this explainer a high-stakes mentorship session. We're going to unpack a timeless business blueprint from one of history's greatest industrial titans, Andrew Carnegie. You've mastered the theory, right? Well, now it's time to learn the absolute reality of the business world.
So let me ask you something pretty provocative. Do you really intend to work your entire life just for a steady, guaranteed salary? Now, most of us are taught that the safety of a guaranteed paycheck is the ultimate goal, the very definition of a successful career. But Carnegie totally shatters that illusion of safety. He forces us to rethink our entire career trajectory. You have to ask yourself, is your goal just to be comfortable, or is it to truly build something of your very own? Section 1. Career choice. Focus on one skill. Okay, let's dive right into this.
Carnegie gives us this ultimate golden rule of specialization. Basically, put all your eggs in one basket and then watch that basket like a hawk. He uses these great examples. The coffee merchant, they stick strictly to coffee. The steel manufacturer absolutely avoids copper. And the miner focuses entirely on coal or ironstone, never both. Why? Well, because a true master thoroughly understands only one business. In a world full of endless distractions, trying to be a jack of all trades is literally a fast track to mediocrity. If you split your focus, you're splitting your potential. Pick your lane and commit to it 100%.
Section 2. Employee versus owner, the harsh reality. Now brace yourselves, because as your mentor today, I'm definitely not going to sugarcoat this fundamental difference.
What's really interesting here is Carnegie's incredibly strict definition of a business. To him, you're only truly in business if you're an owner, or at least a part owner, and your income depends entirely on profits, not a salary. This specific lens completely strips the entire salaried working class of the title businessman. I mean, if you collect a guaranteed paycheck, you're an employee. You're not an owner. It's a really stark dividing line. It honestly doesn't matter how high up the corporate ladder you manage to climb. If you aren't risking your own capital for a share of the profits, you are simply managing someone else's enterprise. He uses this incredibly vivid ocean analogy to really drive the point home. On one side, you've got the employee basically floating safely in the harbor with this life preserver called a salary. No matter what the economic storms are doing, that life preserver keeps them afloat. But the true business owner, they're the master who completely strips off that life preserver, plunges headfirst into the open ocean, and risks absolutely everything on the wild, unpredictable waves of profit and loss. There is zero safety net. It's thrilling for sure, but it requires an entirely different mindset from the person just clinging to the safety of the shore.
And that brings us to this staggering reality. 95%. Literally 95% of those who abandon that salary life preserver to start their own business will fail. It's a genuinely dangerous path. The ocean is totally unforgiving. But here's the thing. A true knight of business is never discouraged by that number. They know the risks, and they step right onto the battlefield anyway. They inherently understand that to reap the massive, life-changing rewards of ownership, you have to be willing to endure the crushing possibility of total defeat. The question is, are you prepared to face that 95%?
Section 3. Becoming the exceptional employee, starting at the bottom. So how exactly do you survive that massive 95% failure rate? Well, you have to transform from an average graduate into an absolutely exceptional employee.
Let's move through this and see how it all builds, because here is your clear, step-by-step roadmap to ascending the ranks in literally any firm. First up, you start at the very bottom. You don't just walk in expecting a corner office. Second, you master your specific specialty. Third, and this is huge, you take unprompted initiative. You do exactly what needs to be done before anyone even asks you to do it. And finally, through all of this consistent action, you earn the absolute unwavering trust of your employer. This is the exact sequence you need to transform from a replaceable asset into a completely indispensable leader.
Let me give you a real-world example straight from Carnegie. There was this young engineer from Sibley who discovered a hidden, highly dangerous flaw in a steam engine's foundation that was built by a really dishonest contractor. Now, he took that scientific data and went directly to his boss. At first, the boss was furious. Fixing it would cost an absolute fortune. But this young engineer, he bravely stood his ground and presented the hard facts. And you know what? He ultimately saved the firm from what could have been a catastrophic disaster. By actively applying his university knowledge to safeguard the business, acting like a fierce protector, instead of just an employee doing the bare minimum, his promotion to the top was instantly guaranteed. Or think about this story of a really modest clerk. Instead of just blindly calling in a debt and totally destroying a client, He took the initiative to study the client's character and their business history. He advised his firm to grant a temporary extension on their credit. That unprompted, thoughtful action saved the client's business and won the firm immense, lifelong loyalty. He wasn't just working for his paycheck, he was acting exactly like an owner protecting the company's long-term success. When you operate with that level of foresight, I'm telling you, your superiors have absolutely no choice but to take notice and elevate you.
Section 4. Absolute integrity, the ultimate test. Let's slow the pace down here a bit, because we are approaching the absolute climax of your career journey. So, you've worked incredibly hard, you've shown amazing initiative, and now your boss is actively considering making you a partner. This brings us to the question of questions, the ultimate pivot point. Are you just smart, or are you truly honest and reliable? This is the exact moment where a trusted hired hand is considered for equal partnership. Your technical skills, they got you to the table, sure, but it is your character that will determine if you actually get a seat at it.
So the crucial point is this. No amount of fancy university degrees or raw technical genius matters at all without this one defining trait. Carnegie puts it perfectly. He says, "The businessman seeks first in his partner the soul of honor." If you lack this unwavering integrity, the door to true business ownership is permanently locked to you. Think about it. A business partner is someone you trust with your livelihood, your entire reputation, your future. If there's even a tiny sliver of doubt about your honor, you are going to remain an employee forever. Here are the absolute, non-negotiable deal breakers when it comes to partnership. Listen closely. No concealment of facts. No prevarication or manipulating the truth just to save face. Absolutely no speculation or gambling with the company resources. And above all else, never, ever do anything that would bring you shame if it were printed on the front page of tomorrow morning's newspaper. Professional integrity isn't just some bonus skill you slap on a resume. It is the fundamental keystone of the arch to business ownership. Without it, everything you build is eventually going to collapse.
Carnegie draws a really hard, vigorous line between a true businessman and a speculator. A true business person creates tangible value. They build up industries, they perform useful services, and they genuinely benefit the community. They are the genuine coin of honest business. But a speculator? Carnegie literally calls them parasites. They create absolutely nothing. They just engage in degrading gambling, extracting money without providing a single useful service to society. Never cross that line. Your ultimate goal is to build an empire of value, not a fragile house of cards.
Section 5. True success, beyond money. Now, let's shift our focus a bit. Say you survive that 95% failure rate, you keep your honor perfectly intact, and you achieve immense wealth. Well, what happens then?
Look, making money is a natural, totally necessary initial motivation. We all need to put food on the table, right? But a true captain of industry very quickly rises above sordid greed. The highest possible reward of business doesn't actually come from a bloated bank account. It comes from developing your country's resources, providing vital employment to thousands of families, and fundamentally advancing the human race. True ownership is ultimately about taking real responsibility for the world around you. Carnegie firmly viewed surplus wealth as a sacred trust, a powerful tool that absolutely must be administered for the highest good of the people. Just take a look at the noble benefactions funded by honest business success. We're talking about public libraries, esteemed colleges, and massive educational institutions. Heck, even the very universities you all just graduated from. True success means using your hard-earned wealth to create ladders for the next generation to climb. So, I'll leave you with this final provocative challenge as you step out into the professional world. When you finally discard that salary life preserver, when you bravely ride the waves of risk, maintain your absolute honor, and finally reach the pinnacle of ownership, what monument are you going to leave behind? Don't just chase ownership for the sake of it. Go out there and build a lasting, truly honorable legacy. Thanks for joining this mentorship session, and honestly, good luck out there on the open water.